Hello, Internet. It is Ironcaster here, and we are, here to cover the next episode of Gundam on the Gundam Roundtable. Fortunately, he's jumping back in the back there. Hey, we lost you there for a second.
Ah, okay then. Good night there, people. How's it going?
You know how it goes. It takes a little time to get things rolling, but how's it going?
That's doing great. Now, life's been going okay, and I finally realized that men in red suits that work in engineering all sound creepy.
Yeah. Either they're like a battlefield ace in a red suit, or they're like a kind of weirdo in a red suit. Either way, watch
Now,
the red
it's
suit
not that
guys.
they're weirdos in behavior; it's just the freaking voice. Seriously, whoever was behind that one, really.
Well, I mean, at least he's not Amuro's dad.
Well, that depends. You're trying to compare a crazy person to a weirdo.
Amuro, it's great. Just here, take this notebook and shove this into the Gundam. Yeah, that'll make the arms more efficient.
Seriously,
you gotta do this. Yeah, and then take these socks too. You gotta wear those.
Seriously, that gets sad and funny. It never stops being sad and funny.
Yep, he's still gonna be out there like living in a junkyard trying to make parts better for the Gundam. And apparently he just had to give it a coating. Give it a raincoat.
Oh god.
So yeah, how'd you like? I guess we should probably get into it a little bit then. Let me get myself set up here. Oh, and also,
let's get things started. Gundam fight all set. Ready? Go!
So, this week we watched episode 40, Lalah's Dilemma. We're down to the last 4 episodes of the series, and the tensions are building higher in this episode.
Yeah, they are. They are, especially with the solar cannon stuff. And there's other stuff I want to point out, but it depends on other pictures that are very ahead. But yeah, let's go.
All right. So let me get my controls set up. So of course the episode starts out. We've got the crew, the white base, busy working on repairs, while they're all concerned about the Gundam itself.
And Amuro's evolution, clearly.
Yes, how he's advancing beyond the capabilities of the Gundam. The machinery can't handle the pilots. It's a combination of that, and I think to a degree, though not overtly, wear and tear on the suit itself. That's not something they really bring up or suggest in the show, but that's in part a theory of mine.
Interesting. You can go. No, you first. This is your show.
I was reading from the notes here.
This is your show, dude. Okay. Well, I'm enjoying the scenery of Amuro, of how he has to deal with this. Seriously. Now, from the red coats guy showing up to all this, he is no longer the same level as the machine. And I kind of feel emotional because when it was in the start, this was what started him in his adventure. Now he's surpassed this, and it's kind of emotional for me. I mean, it's kind of like when you were a kid and you had this bike, you used it all the time to go everywhere. Now you're too old to even ride it. It's just kind of gets into the heart, man. You start watching it.
Well, also rewatching through the theme song and all that, and here it is going on about how Amuro's going to save the day, and he's raising a hand towards the sky as it fades to the Gundam, and it's like, yeah, the Gundam's going to be the Amuro and the Gundam are going to save us all, and here's Amuro like kind of moving past it.
It's emotional.
Yeah. And it's like, we've been with the suit for so long. This thing has, it is the face of the franchise. Quite literally, down to like the Gundam is the face they use on the packaging for the little Gundam logo. When you're like buy a model kit, it's got a little tiny head of the Gundam itself.
Yeah, even still in modern day with new Gundams and even designs, they still use that one as a spiritual image. It's the first. It's had more power than anyone ever.
Yep. And so it comes off as really important here because while we've always kind of suggested and hinted at like, well, the Gundam's getting damaged as it's gone on. The idea that they might not even be able to use the Gundam going forward, especially it's like, well, the series is building to something. Like there's going to be in this war some big battle coming. I mean, we've seen the Battle of Solomon. We've seen the battle. We've seen so many battles so far.
Yes,
and
so many wars.
Mm-hmm. So many bodies.
So many shots this show actually had the balls to show us of people dying.
Mm-hmm. Friends and foe alike.
Too much friends and characters I enjoyed. And it was either out of nowhere, just too predictable and kind of lazy. I'm sorry. It still affects me, man. Well, I had to rewatch everything to get them back.
I mean, in part, though, it does a really good job there, I think, of hitting back on the fact that no one's truly safe in war.
Yes, but yes, it was a good take on it. That everybody can die in every moment. No one is safe except if you're the anime protagonist who has to drive the Gundam. You're gonna die. Yes, war is not good unless you're the protagonist. Still,
of course, I think there's one person in particular everyone on board the ship is worried about, Bright included, and that's Amuro. You're getting really worried about all of the psychic capabilities of Amuro with the new type stuff. That he's gonna move beyond them in a sense.
Just a matter of time.
So we have the white base returning back to Solomon for some repairs, and as you can see, it's pretty banged up. It's a ship of war, basically.
It's pretty much beaten to a pulp.
Mm-hmm. And it's been our home for this whole series, so it's kind of in a way it's almost sad to see it like that. No time to even slap on a fresh coat of paint this time.
Really there we go. See, so that guy, I gotta find out who the hell voiced him. And for a second, I really thought these guys were clones or something. I mean, they all look the same, except for the main guy. Who voiced this guy? His voice was just so... Dang it. I don't know why it got to me. I don't know if to laugh or to be terrified.
Okay, I'm looking this up right now. The English voice actor is listed as Louis Chirillo.
Chirillo.
I'm kind of looking over other things he's done. He's done some of the other Gundam stuff. He's played some miscellaneous characters. Nothing's really popping out. Apparently, in some of the games, he's voiced like Hero from Gundam Wing. So, I mean, he's come and done some other roles with Gundam, though he's not the primary voice actor of Hero. But, maybe we'll cover that. Maybe we'll get there.
Okay, then. Not much. I was expecting that, but...
Yeah, the guy's been around. I mean, not unless you want to hear about his voice acting work for Barbie.
Yeah. No, let's move on. So this is what we always do. We drop so much into conversation. Dang it. Let's move on.
So while they're busy repairing everything, these engineers show up and tell them to stop doing the repairs to the Gundam so that they can go and put in their
Upgrades?
Yeah, their upgrades. This idea of giving it a magnetic coating to help reduce friction.
And these ones will actually do something, unlike the ones made by the crazy man on the junkyard.
I mean, hey, we've seen what they do with that coating in this. I mean, remember the Gundam used a similar magnetic coating to get through the Earth's atmosphere.
All right.
I mean, also, I like getting these little shots here where you get to see the like insides of the Gundam. You get to see the guts of it and how it looks like it should work.
Yeah, a lot of the designs. I'll just scream crazy sci-fi that you wouldn't understand, and I love that.
Also, it's like the face of the faceplate of the Gundam just opens up sideways,
like a freaking car door.
Mm-hmm. Whereas, you know, with Transformers, Optimuses would just kind of go in from the sides and meet in the middle. It's like, no, this one is just like.
Okay, did the G1 cartoon ever actually take off? Because I'm remembering around the Hot Rod era, they kind of ditched his mouth or something. I'm exactly remembering. Well, did they ever show up Mr. Prime's mouth in G1?
I mean, maybe Orion Pax.
Yeah, Orion. Yes, him definitely. They did show him talking Optimus.
Yeah. Well, before he became Optimus.
Yeah.
But there have been a number of series that have just made that like essentially like a battle mask. But
yeah,
that's the wrong franchise. One of the things that does get brought up is there's not necessarily any guarantee that what they're going to do will work. So this could all just be time wasted.
A shot in the dark.
A shot in the dark could be wasted time that they could have used for repairs, but they need to make the attempt.
They need to have a pilot at 100%. Not just him, but the Gundam itself.
And with a suit that can keep up with him.
Because if you give him something that can't even keep up with him, I mean, she is the only person in power that actually seems a little bit attractive. Sentiment.
Well, I mean, it's like what? It's not like there's exactly a whole lot of other options here.
Well, most of the others are old men who are pretty much closer to the doors of death, or creepy guys who probably shouldn't be allowed around children. But hey, how can we pick?
Yep. So here we have Kaiselia Zabi being informed of the defeat of Sheliable, their other new type. You know, she's none too pleased of this, of course. And they start to talk about some other plans. Oh, that's a big fly. Just flew past me. Oh, no, Chris today. No, I probably should. I didn't send him anything. I will have to get with him, especially for the last episode or so. But
all right, we haven't had him in a long time. Even Jace, man, we really got to get the gang back together for one more.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got 3 more episodes left. Maybe watch some come back on Jace. I'll have a link ready.
Yeah, maybe at least for the 2 final ones, or even just the finale. Get everyone from the start here again. Doesn't matter what we see. Just get everybody back together one final time. Let's all scream it. Just to celebrate how long we made it.
Let's see. So the show goes
solar
on,
cannon,
and it's unfortunately I don't have a video of it saved, but you get this cylinder.
Yeah, you get the gist of what it can do.
Mm-hmm. This is side 3, one of the closed cylinders that still belongs to the Zeons, and it is in the process of having all its peoples forcefully evacuated.
Okay, I know this is Evacuation, but man, it's seriously go forward. It's these kind of scenes that make you think. They're not good guys. This is supposed to be a morally gray area, but this does not make it look like good guys. At least show the Federation pointing guns at kids. That kind of helps keep it all gray.
Yeah, it doesn't. The thing is, it's ultimately they're at war. Both sides you have soldiers on both sides that are going to do less than noble things, and frankly, threatening an old man who's lost his granddaughter is certainly not the acts of someone noble.
No, it's not.
But
I mean, maybe even have one of the soldiers speak up and say that this is wrong. Actually, help find a little bit still.
Right. Well, I mean, they're also, in a way, it's like I feel like I have to go to bat for them here. They're trying to evacuate the colony, and time is precious. If the Federation could attack at any time, frankly, it's time wasted. It's an expense of resources. We can worry about this later. We need to get these people off the colony.
Yeah, I know, military mojo.
Yeah, I mean it's cruel, but you have to enforce your orders and rules.
Yeah, everybody can live and win victory. Yeah. I get it.
And I mean, he even tells them like, "Hey, don't your daughter's in Zeon, and we will find her. We just keep moving. Here's your ship. Get off the planet. Get off the colony." Because they want to evacuate it for defensive purposes and also weaponization.
Yeah, freaking silicon.
And so, like, every leg packed. You're all going to get onto the ships to get off the colony. So they're the Zeon forces are in the process of creating their own version of the solar ray that we saw in the Battle of Solomon. You know, the one that devastated the Zeon forces.
Yeah, they killed. Yeah, destroyed all that destructive power. Yeah, pretty much the equivalency of a nuclear bomb for this kind of spatial war.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the idea ultimately is essentially the Galileo's death laser, where you aim a bunch of mirrors at the same target, and you can effectively use it like a laser and magnify the sun 1,000 times back at a single spot.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea has been around for literally centuries. And obviously in Gundam they were no different. So ship after ship.
Looks like they're going on a great path to build the panels. Excuse me for a second. I need to take care of one problem.
Not a problem. So yeah, to me it looks like it's they're bringing in a bunch of ice cube trays, but that's just me. Which I love all of the detail in these panels. Just all the activity.
Sorry about that. I had to flush the toilet.
Oh, lovely. What about you? I mean, these are some of my favorite. I think these shots like this are some of my favorite in the episode, particularly. Just where you get to see all this where you get the suggestions of all this activity in the background, even if it's just a single panel. Like,
yeah, so much detail in all this.
I mean, here you have ships bringing in just like steel plating to presumably pile onto this thing to further reinforce it.
Yeah.
And these would effectively be construction platforms from which you have these ships working and operating. Like I said, it's a lot of fun to kind of stop and take all it in and kind of appreciate the 70s art style.
Yeah, it's just... I love the effort that was put in all this.
And especially knowing this is all hand-drawn.
Yeah. You want to find something like this today.
Look, here's Zeon City. Zoom City.
Beautifully designed, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Which, again, to kind of remind people, this is the inside of a colony, so they live on the edge of it. It's like being inside of a cylinder, inside of a tin can in space.
Yeah, you're not seeing things. This is how it is.
Mm-hmm. So at Zoom City, excuse me. We have Giran and reporting to his father Degman, the leader of Zeon.
Pretty much Emperor Palpatine's twin bigger brother.
Right.
With no hair.
So they're discussing the current evacuation, and Degman is criticizing Giran's forcefulness with this. And calls him...
they had discussion over democracy and how it would not be very wise to possess it in the moment.
Calling him an incompetent leader over it. Which Giran is going over some battle plans and the intent to try to further improve their defensive capabilities. That if they can cut them off, they can better defend themselves. So he wants to use the solar ray to attack the Federation if they try it. If they try it, and they can cut them off. I mean, as far as strategies go, it makes sense to me.
It does. And we're getting more in the part where I really wanted to speak the most. We're getting there. So let's not.
And one of the other things that Giran discusses is trying to control the population size to better and more effective. Essentially, he wants to population control to try and maximize their resources, which I think is my reading into it. But the idea goes to limit the population, to strive for excellence with fewer, and try to cut down on the waste of population
resources.
Yes, which is a very simple. I don't want to say it's a very by the numbers sort of assessment of the situation. I think is what Giran's going for. This is in part, kind of reading into intent. But of course, then you have Degman famously comparing Giran to
Adolf Hitler.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the part, literally, one of the main characters in another one of the morally great organizations being compared to Adolf Hitler. Again, not being that morally gray there.
No.
Hey, if they showed the Federation doing stuff like this.
Yeah, it's like I said,
they know how to balance.
Yeah, I mean, both sides aren't wholly aren't totally innocent. I mean, they'll both aim guns at civilians to enforce their way, because might makes right, apparently. As long as they have the power, they're in charge, then what they say goes. And that's why there's really it's hard. It's easy to kind of appreciate either side for the silly meme reasons or whatever, but it's a strength of Gundam because it shows that it's not a simple like good is good and bad is bad. And I mean, you see that with characters like Amuro and the rest of the Side 7 refugees. They were out of it. They wanted no part with this, and ultimately, the reason for why this war is going on doesn't matter because it was dragged on them. They lost their homes over it. Now they're just pieces on a chessboard.
Yeah, doesn't matter how the story goes. Sooner or later, you'll be in it.
Right.
So many deaths.
Yeah. So, our boy's back.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Char. Yeah, it's good having Char back.
Yes, I enjoy having him back.
But yeah, no, I like I said, I think it's a really good I feel point to make because in having these talks you kind of get into a lot more of that.
Yeah, I started to understand. In the beginning, I was kind of indifferent for the character, but the more I watched him, the more I started to feel attracted to him. The more I started to see his good as a character, his place and all. Seriously, he's an interesting character, quite unique in many ways.
Which character are we talking about? Char or Amuro?
I'm talking about Char. Amuro's a little crybaby who's barely behaving as a man, but hey.
Who gets
slapped?
slapped?
The slaps. Yes, they fixed that.
Mm. They slapped they slapped some manhood into him.
I haven't got that far.
Well, I mean, also, Char is just kind of a bit of a complex character in this as well. He's someone who's, while on one side, is still out for his own purposes. And he has a simple cause. It's, for him, revenge. And he's well suited for the job with the abilities he has.
Yes. He has. I'll admit, he was a little bitch, but he has grown to be something better. We can all admire that.
So, meanwhile, Char and the boys are off in space, and they detect some nearby Federation forces. So, naturally, we need to send out Lalah. Well, we have a new model kit we need to sell, and we need to put this thing in battle. So, for Lalah, this will be her first... This will be her first actual battle. She's not just witnessing. She's not just observing from the sidelines. She's going to be pulling the trigger herself.
Yep,
and she's surprisingly calm throughout all this. Like, Lalah, I feel, is someone who just hasn't really been talked about a lot. I mean, I feel like we've kind of pointed at her and said she's there, but she almost seems like she's, well, for lack of a better term, like from another world, you know?
Yeah, the way she behaves, moves, and, well, talks, it just feels like she's not from the area around.
That the problems that are happening in the here and now with this war, they're not her concern. I mean, especially that's considering that she has Lieutenant Char there to kind of look out for her.
Yep. And I think she cares to look out for him too.
Mm-hmm. Like there's an interesting relationship there, I would say. That they don't like come outright and say anything one way or another with it, but there is a relationship there of to some degree.
Yeah.
So they decide that they're gonna send her out with a couple of the Doms for some protection for escort.
And some of them were not very happy because they are human.
Mm-hmm. And they know that she's this new type, that there's this animosity towards her as being something different, something not like them.
And Char's not having none of that.
Right. It's like, look, your job is to guard her. You're the Whew. I am sorry, I cannot stop yawning.
Don't worry.
And it comes across as like a kind of the obvious, like, well, if they're supposed to be this like almost next step of evolution, then what does it say about us if we're going to be made obsolete?
Yeah. I can understand why. It's pretty much the whole concept of humans and mutants. So
exactly. I was actually gonna just say that. It's like you see it years later. Actually around the same time, and in the next few years after this is Chris Claremont's X-Men is going on at about the same time. So I'd be curious to see if any ideas of that didn't somehow kind of get stirred into the pot, considering just how popular it was. But that's, I think, me kind of filling in some and making some bridges where there may not be any.
Yeah. Man, so many. But yes, let us move forward.
Yep. So they start launching torpedoes and missiles at these Federation ships, and I had to kind of go back and just try to get a shot of the missiles as they start taking them out one by one.
Yeah.
And of course, Char is pleased, and he goes out in his Gelgoog.
I'm just gonna lie, I really enjoy seeing these battles.
Yeah, I mean it's naval combat
in space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, without the mobile suits, that is effectively what it is. You're watching battleships fighting. And
it's just so cool.
I think the idea was to show that there was just some stuff going off out in space. Or no, these are the two Rick Doms out in space with the Elmeth being deployed. That's right. Char heads out as well and tells Lalah to stay back so that the two Rick Doms can pull the fire of the Federation ships so that she can use her funnel bits and get in the kills that she can, basically send them in to poke it like a needle and have a much finer precision that way.
Very strategic thinking.
They then disobey orders and stay back so Lalah can go into battle by herself effectively, having disobeyed Char's orders.
That is sentence equal to death.
And this was, I had to kind of fight a little bit to get a shot of the actual funnel bits, which is basically a disco ball of death with a jetpack with a rocket up its butt.
Yeah, I can see the parallels with a disco ball. It's round and the balls and all that, but come on.
I mean, I think it was really only supposed to be just. I think the way it works, and my pure speculation, is that the front of it is the laser, and that these are all just maneuvering thrusters that would allow it to make quick, rapid changes in trajectory and direction. So they can very much snake in and attack you from any direction on a dime. It's a pretty effective weapon for space.
Yeah. Seeing that there are literally infinite directions, better to have them all infinitely pointed out with a different weapon.
And she's having a little trouble, struggling.
Yeah, it's actually good to see these scenes, so we know new types are very capable, but not completely perfect.
Right. She has to struggle without them there to help distract. She can't get in the focus she needs to be able to maneuver and pay attention to all these things going on at the same time and control multiple bits. And what's kind of neat is you get to see the bits all coming up and just taking such sharp angles and that in space, whereas everything otherwise has been very, very straight with the way it shoots.
Yes, still.
Meanwhile, Char is trying to reprimand them a bit in the field and like, why aren't you up there protecting her?
Seriously, if it was any other show, he would have shot them both right now and just flew away. But he knows that would be a bad move.
He would never betray anyone.
Yes, he would not. He would not.
I mean, so another benefit of these bits is that they can be used to deflect blows. Because there was a shot where she's nearly hit, and one of them she gets into place to take the shot that would have hit her ship. So I mean, they're very useful.
Yes. Imagine if we had weapons like those.
So she gets in. She manages to get the kill by herself without her support, by the way. And then they return back to the Zanzibar.
Yes, and the others are alive too.
So with that, I mean, Lalah's taken out two battleships by herself. She's proven capable of fighting. So, provided there's no mobile suits, she fares a good. She basically is a good, useful weapon to be used in a war.
Yes, but needs to be used wisely. One bad move and they could lose this powerful advantage.
It is about that time we get our break.
That. Yeah. Oh, man, I missed that. I gotta say, I enjoy these designs of the bases. Really, they are very well detailed.
Yep. So we're back with the Federation now on the at Solomon, the base where we unfortunately lost Dozo Zabi and the Big Zam, which is now the frontline headquarters of the Federation this far in space. So, I cannot stop yawning. So the Federation is in the midst of arming up all its battleships, and you can see that they are just covered in mobile suits. You get to see the GMs finally getting ready to go for battle, with the balls there as well. Come on, everyone loves the ball.
If there were two of them and you said that, that would have been so much funnier,
Right, everyone loves the balls.
I'm such a raunchy person. But yeah.
Like, come on, you that's part of that's part of the this joke about the suit is that come on, the thing's called the ball, and it has a big, large chain, a big old barrel on it.
Yeah.
It's a dick and
ball. Seriously, when shows have designs like these, I wonder if they do it on purpose, just hoping someone would realize. It's just as it is, man.
Well,
I love having these great
if you look at the design of the ball, though, it's essentially a emergency pod with two little manipulator arms, and you don't exactly have a whole lot in the way of ability to arm it. So we're just gonna slap a bazooka on it. It's silly, but it makes sense at a time of strife. When you basically try to retrofit some construction equipment, like, yeah, I get it. But speaking about things I get, let's look at this shot here. Like,
the ships are so well detailed. Because they could have done literally just a couple of blurry images on the side and just move away, but they really gave so much detail onto this.
Yeah, about 4, 5, 6 battleships all being retrofitted here at Solomon.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be underestimated how big of a victory this was for them. That they now have a base that's able to house this many ships to be repaired.
Yeah, they have a superiority in the moment. They should really take advantage of it.
Yep, they
definitely. Now, if it was mobile, then they would have a very big advantage.
Well, you got to remember, Solomon was an asteroid pulled out of the asteroid belt.
So technically, it is mobile.
Yes, it's in space.
Now, if they're smart, they are now OP against the enemy.
Mm-hmm. And it was pulled in to use for mining raw materials. Out in space, we got to build these colonies. We need the metal and the steel for making them from somewhere.
Good point. Good point. Instead of mining, they just turn it into a military base, which is fine.
Well, you also need a degree of mobility. Something that big requires a lot of mass and effort to get moving. You might have to tow it to get it moving otherwise. Because as far as I know, they don't have a big old rocket to strap on the back of that.
Some kind of Looney Tunes crap, but no, they don't. They should get one of those. That one sucked, but I thought it was funny.
So the Federation is preparing for their next mission that they call Operation Star One. One in which they want to go and attack the Xeon home turf. Like, we've been pushing them back enough. Now we're on the offensive. Now let's take it. Let's take the battle to their home
and show them how it feels like.
Oh yeah, this is full on like a Starship Troopers-esque moment. We're gonna go to the Bugs' home world, and for this, they want one of the most experienced ships, the White Base, to lead at the front of the lead point of the mission. And so, in preparation of this, we see multiple Federation ships all flying off to begin their goal of taking the battle to the enemy. Also, how cool is that? You get to see all the GMs like just plastered on the top and bottom of the ships.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, do they ever make models of the ships like these kind of designs of them where you could build it with freaking GMs on top in this kind of way?
I mean, the big problem there though is if you built them like to scale with the actual model kits, that thing would be larger than a table. So you have to like scale down. Although I'm pretty sure there are model kits of these ships. Just they don't sell like the Gundams do. People want an army build. They want to have a couple of GMs. They want to have like a Zaku fighting the Gundam in a display. You know?
Yeah, they want to create armies and not the ships.
There we go.
Never.
That's the ship.
Yeah, that is it. Seriously, this is what screams, we are going to war.
2, 3. Yeah, there's like about a dozen GMs on just like one of these ships alone. So I can only imagine you're going to see that replicate over like at a minimum, we've seen, let's say, a dozen different ships. So with like 12 GMs to each one minimum, plus any that might be in any sort of hangar facilities, like, yeah, they are bringing the war to Zeon.
It really ain't gonna be pretty.
No. And here you can see, just for a further expansion of that, just how many ships you're seeing here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And if the seed is moving, there's probably going to be more. Like, yeah, this is the offensive. This is them pulling all the pieces together.
Yeah. It's like a game of chess, and you finally have control over the enemy's bishop and are soon to take the... Okay, I'm not that great at chess.
It's like you've taken their rook and you're ready to go grab a bishop next.
Okay.
Or you've taken the bishop
or
the knight and you're going to go get the rook. The rook is
I'm going to take your word on that.
Like a 5-point piece. You haven't quite gone...
Yeah, I'm going to take your word on that.
It's like now they're going to go for the queen. Go for the king. It's been a while since I played chess. Yeah, so maybe some chess would be fun at some time. Especially if you can get like a set that has like Gundams and GMs and balls versus like Char. You know? Go on, tell me you wouldn't want that chess set after the watching this show.
Yes, I'd buy it. I wonder, would the king be a design of Char and the on one side and the king on the other side be a design of Amuro or whoever? This is questionable.
I mean, you've got enough pieces because you can just have the Zaku and the ball as your pawns. Or to kind of balance it out, I guess we could say the GM and the Zaku. Then you could have the Goof, the Dom, the Gelgoog, the Gian, the Zeong, the Big Zam.
This is going so...
Yeah.
I would so buy it.
It's like, there's been a lot of suits in this show. However,
yeah,
staying back though is the white base, which is still which is still doing some delayed, which is doing a delayed launch. The Gundam you see is still in the process of repairs.
Yeah.
And so we get
somehow Amuro has better conversation with other scientists that aren't related to him.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's in part because they're just there to talk about science, talk about the Gundam. We're here to talk about a thing, not the events going on around us. And that, I think, works for Amuro to his benefit. because he's always been this like mechanically inclined kid who's was always so engrossed in working on computers that he would forget to eat.
Yes, and you need someone to.
So the idea is that the magnetic coating is going to help prevent it from overheating, and Mosk here requests that he survives to come back with data so that he can look at it. He's like, oh no, I don't care if he's like, he cares more about getting the data than whether or not Amuro survives, because
again, he is a scientist and he's trying to get.
And so
trying to get the work done.
We get the oh so memorable shot of the white base launching. Meanwhile, back aboard the Zanzibar, Char is reprimanding his soldiers about, why didn't you do what I said? You're supposed to. You stayed behind the Elmeth when it fought, and explain yourselves. Which, to their credit, they seem to get. They seem to get what was going on. They're just regular soldiers, and she's something special. She's better suited for the battlefield. But it is also a bit self-serving. Like, let's cover our own asses here. We're just common soldiers, and in a war like this, there's no need for us with new types on the battlefield.
Yeah, they're obsolete and they know it. Time to replace it for the ones that aren't going to die that easy. For the ones who have at least plot armor for like 2 episodes or so.
Look at you. You don't have a name tag. It's like, oh, well, my name is Jim. No, don't tell me that. No, that just guarantees you're going to die now. Now you're Jim. And then when you die, we're going to say, oh, no, Jim died.
Yeah, they need to give it meaning, so. Oh, God, this is so messed up, but this is how it works.
Mm-hmm. You see, Gundam is the reverse red shirt. Char wears the red shirt, and
but
others around him tend to. Yes. So apparently the rule in Gundam is wear red shirts, and you'll have the plot immunity.
Wear anything but red, because let's be honest, by all this time the ones that died and were important were mostly blues. Ryu and Trek and seriously, all the good ones were blues. So yeah, the reds are better at this than anything.
Mm-hmm. But also, Char and Lalah do lament, and so rather than their strategy they had before, where they intended for her to stay in the back line, she's gonna be up front fighting now. Which part of that, I believe, comes from Char's own affections and connections to Lalah, that he wants to protect her.
Yes,
but
because he is.
They managed to argue with him that, hey, we're just mooks,
They are just the lights. She is the tree in Christmas.
They're like, yeah, we're the Arbor Day of soldiers. Nobody actually cares about us. She's like Christmas. Or at the very least, like a good day where you get to have time off. We're like Secretary's Day.
Is that even a day? An actual day?
That is a day. But it's like, it basically doesn't matter. It was just to like make secretaries feel like they're appreciated.
Okay, so Made up date. Got it.
Yep. We go back to the white base where Bright is telling everyone this might be our last moments of rest for a while, so get a bite in while you can. And there's also a brief moment where Sayla and Amuro are talking with one another to kind of help deal with nerves, but nothing really of note truly happens. It was just kind of a little brief pep talk. You know, they still get the pre-battle jitters.
Who could probably eat and rest at this moment because chances are they're probably gonna die later.
Right, but at the same time, it's like if you don't eat, you're not going to have the energy to be able to fight more effectively. Get at least a little something in your system. That way, just you can kind of have, but not too much. Meanwhile, with our boy Char, he and Lalah have arrived at Kaiselia's ship, the Guazine, where they report about their progress. How she was able to take out a couple of battleships by herself, and actually no, she doesn't tell them. They don't tell them yet. My mistake. I'm getting a little mixed up in the episode. So they're going to be deployed on the defensive line to help with the incoming battle because everyone knows what's about to go down. And Kaiselia looks at Lalah and says, "Too much free thinking there. Put her in a uniform."
Finally, give her something.
Yeah, no, she's just gonna kind of be over there, and apparently she gets to wear the yellow dress. Okay, it's then that they tell her about they tell Kaiselia about how she managed to take out 2 Federation ships. And that's when Char recommends they should have a new type division, a new type force for battle because of the effectiveness.
And I agree with him. Seriously, everything this guy says makes sense, and you just gotta respect it.
And so they head out. Which you get to see that, yeah, there several ships are also all getting deployed, including like some kind of weird purple Zeppelin thing in the background. Not exactly sure, but this is the defensive line where the moon is effectively the line from which you get the division is effectively the border between this and side 3 is where you have to worry about. Amuro's out in space doing some tests, and Bright comments about how he now believes new types to exist, having witnessed Amuro in action. Amuro's outpacing the Gundam, and there's no more any doubt on Bright's mind.
Yeah. Slaps ain't gonna be able to fix this one.
Nope. Apparently he slapped him so hard he developed superpowers. How the hell do you slap psychic powers into someone? That's just the power of that backhand.
If you hit the right part of the face, then goes to the brain, and something blows up there, it's got to make it work.
Something like that. Off in the distance, they see the incoming ships. And so the battle begins for us.
Who will survive? Many ask. Who will survive?
Amuro could feel the sensation of something out there. Another new type, perhaps? Something calling to him. He's not able to fully feel it out here, but he guesses Char and someone else are there.
Yes.
And off in the distance, as they begin to go out, the battle is upon us.
Yes. War has been released. Time for the survival of the fittest. Many will ask themselves, who will survive next time?
We still got about another 5 minutes or so.
Oh, damn it. I made all this stuff.
By the way, how great of a shot is this?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Gun ready to fire.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's got such
badass
great perspective. Your eye, where it's like the focal point is the gun. It's pointed down. He's aiming.
It kind of doesn't make sense now you start to think about it, because the eye is a visor, but he's smaller and set. You know what? I'm not going to try to bring logic into this. I'm just going to watch.
I mean, there's the computers. So you're kind of lining things up with computers and whatever that big yellow flashlight is.
Yeah.
But no matter, because we have those funnel bits flying out in space. Let's see. So Amuro begins firing on Char, and Lalah uses some of the funnels to take the blast and save Char. Where they're now getting to realize something happened, because whatever advantage they had before is seemingly gone now. The Gelgoog is now no longer faster than the Gundam. Like,
Yeah.
Oh no, this isn't good. And Amuro is still a badass, so he's able to, fly up on Rickdoms and point blank just hit him with the pilot. It's like, oh shit.
Seriously, this kid is getting too beastly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, damn it.
Oh.
Now it looks like this is finally going to happen. Sooner or later, we're going to have a freaking badass battle between Char and Amuro. And I don't want any Lalah intervention. She can be killing other people out in the background. The next fight's got to be Amuro and Char.
Oh, trust me, we will get more of Amuro and Char. We've got 3 episodes left.
Yeah, just 3.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, this feels so hard to believe. It's almost there. It's almost over.
It's like, you remember how there was that block of like all those episodes where it was like, oh, there's no Char and Amuro fighting. What's going on? There's all this Rama Ral and the Creeper. Yeah. It's like, where's Char? I was expecting him. It's like, don't worry about that.
Yeah, all this damn build up is finally getting onto something.
Oh, speaking about the build up, we got the awesome one in the chat. How's it going?
What's up, bro?
Just kind of getting into we're finally getting to the big battle of the episode. Amuro and Char fighting. Lalah's swinging around with her little funnel bits. This is where it gets good. I mean, again. Amuro begins. Amuro's doing his best trying to hit the funnel bits, and Lalah is having some trouble fighting and wants Char to pull back. Unfortunately, though,
the Red Comet
has been shot down. Though he's not out.
No. He's got the same level of plot armor as Amuro. He's coming out of that.
It's just he's now been disarmed. Lalah wants him to eject, but he rejects, saying, "No, the suit will be fine. It's more important to push the fight. Get the Gundam."
Yeah.
So he grabs onto the fin of the Elmeth. Oh, but before that, Amuro gets his revenge. He gets to kick Char in the face.
This feels so wrong.
I mean, come on.
It's weird that I came to love Char more than Amuro, that I can't really stand seeing him losing.
Oh, don't worry, though. I mean, come on. He can't always win. It'd be boring after a while. No, sometimes you just have to... sometimes the fighter you like has to get kicked in the teeth or in his giant robot head.
Yeah, I guess.
The battle keeps building. The tensions are growing, and this is doing something to Lalah. She's having trouble focusing. She can't fight like she was before.
Now she's so worried, sweating. Combat is getting to her.
Yeah.
A matter of time until she breaks.
There we go. So
I gotta say, I enjoyed this shot.
Yeah, this is pretty cool to see. Like, oh, he's just kind of a little hanger on. So, let's see, needing to withdraw and unable to fight, Lalah's working through this, and you have a moment here where the two of them are connected here. And Lalah calls Amuro evil. For wanting to hurt Char.
Well, it's either him or me, lady. So, yeah, everyone can understand how I'm around here.
So with that, they retreat. They head back where they inform Kaiselia how she was able to take down 2 more for now a total of 4 vessels in the single day, just due to Lalah alone. Though Char is standing there wondering now, is this fortune going to continue with these headaches of Lalah's caused by the Gundam pilot?
Mostly it will continue.
And so
seems to follow where the protagonist goes.
And so the episode ends a lull in the battle with uncertainty as to which way things could go.
Exactly. It leaves this endless void of question. What shall happen? What is next? Who shall die? Who shall live? Who shall survive? But not as good as the second part I already did. Damn it.
And that's always the $1 million question with this show. Thanks to our great narrator. Who will survive? You know, last episode we were left with Amuro and the crew of the Federation wondering this, in a similar way. With what's going on with the Gundam? Whereas now you have the flip side of this. Char isn't certain of the future.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? And
yeah, he can't think his way out of this one. You can't think more than this one.
And that was our episode for this week.
Yes, it was. This one was more organized and quite possibly quicker than the last one, honestly.
It's a good building tension, and I think between last episode and this week's episode, you're not quite sure what exactly is going to happen. You know, like both sides have had some advancements, but now there's still uncertainty.
Much indeed. Truly, this is becoming a great. It's getting close to a great finale.
It's building, and I'm looking forward to finding out what happens.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to finishing this so we can watch the movie.
So there's a trilogy of movies that were adapted to some of the stuff. So you effectively have, we'll say, 4 to 5 hours summing up the entire series to check out after this.
All right.
Yeah. And yeah, Awesome One is right. Intense.
It was intense.
Oh, this is good.
I just want them to do something that shows the Federation and not a soap opera that I've liked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had some things for the seasons, but I need to see something that screams it. They have it for the Xeon. It's only fair.
There's a number of possible options to go with from here. That, something we could talk about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll come back to we'll come back to this this question with this when we end this show, and when we finish the series up. Are we gonna keep doing some more Gundam? Maybe want to watch another show instead. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
All right. I think I'm ready to head out. If you are.
Yeah, I'm good. We've already done this. We were more organized this time. We are back, and we are a well-oiled machine.
Oh, guys, until next time, thanks for tuning in.
See you next week, and guess who'll survive? Peace.